The metal chair scraped against the floor as Brooklyn Harper was yanked backward by her hair. She didn't scream, didn't cry. Her fingers just gripped the edge of her desk, knuckles turning white, while 3 pairs of hands tried to drag her from her seat. "Get her out!" Madison Wells shrieked, her perfectly manicured nails digging into Brooklyn's shoulder. "She doesn't belong in our school." The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting harsh shadows across the chemistry lab. Test tubes rattled in their holders. The smell of sulfur from an earlier experiment mixed with Madison's vanilla perfume, creating something sickening. Brooklyn's eyes stayed fixed on the periodic table poster on the wall. Calm, steady, like counting down seconds on a bomb. "I said, move!" Hunter Morrison grabbed Brooklyn's arm, trying to pull her up. His Letterman jacket sleeve rode up, revealing scratch marks from their last encounter. But Brooklyn Harper wasn't just any quiet girl. What none of them knew, what would soon turn their perfect little world upside down, was that the girl they were trying to humiliate had spent every summer since age 10 in tactical training camps. Her bedtime stories weren't fairy tales. They were her father's SWAT breach scenarios. While other kids played house, she learned pressure points. While they posted selfies, she practiced situational awareness. And right now, her tactical assessment told her exactly 3 things Madison stood at her 5 o'clock. Off balance in 4-inch heels. Hunter crowded her right side. All muscle, but no technique. And Skylar Chen blocked the only exit, filming everything on her phone for social media. 3 against 1. They thought those were good odds. They were wrong. "Last warning," Brooklyn said, her voice so quiet it was almost lost under Madison's demands. "Let go!" Madison laughed, that sharp, cruel sound that had terrorized freshmen for 3 years. "Or what you'll tell your mommy." "Oh, wait!" She leaned in close, breath hot against Brooklyn's ear. "That's right. You don't have one." The room went still. Even the wall clock seemed to stop ticking. Brooklyn's grip on the desk loosened, her shoulders dropped. For just a moment, she looked exactly like what they wanted her to be: defeated, broken, alone. Madison's smirk widened. "Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, get us out of our—" The rest of her sentence dissolved into a gasp. In one fluid motion, Brooklyn shifted her weight, used Madison's momentum against her, and sent the queen bee stumbling backward into a lab table. Glass beakers crashed to the floor. Madison's designer bag went flying, spilling its contents across the tiles, lipstick rolling under desks. Her phone skittering toward the wall. "My bag!" Madison screeched. "That's a $1,200. $1,200, Brooklyn corrected quietly, finally standing. "And it's fake. The stitching pattern is wrong." Hunter moved first, lunging forward with the confidence of someone who'd never lost a fight. Brooklyn sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and used a simple redirect that sent him crashing into Skylar. Both hit the ground hard. Skylar's phone spinning across the floor, still recording. The whole sequence took less than 4 seconds. Brooklyn straightened her uniform blazer and sat back down, pulling out her chemistry textbook like nothing had happened. Around her, Madison struggled to her feet. Hunter groaned from the floor, and Skylar scrambled for her phone. "What? What are you?" Madison's voice shook now, all pretense of control gone. Brooklyn turned a page in her textbook. "Someone who asked to be left alone." The classroom door burst open. Mr. Peterson rushed in, taking in the scene Madison covered in broken glass, Hunter and Skylar on the floor, Brooklyn calmly reading about molecular bonds. "What happened here?" he demanded. Madison pointed a trembling finger. "She attacked us! That psycho attacked us!" "Really?" Brooklyn looked up for the first time, meeting the teacher's eyes. Check Skylar's phone. She recorded everything. Skylar's face went white. I wasn't. You posted about it 15 minutes ago. Brooklyn said, about to teach the charity case a lesson. 7 crying, laughing emojis. Your followers must have loved that. Mr. Peterson's expression darkened. All 4 of you. Principal's office, now. As they filed out, Madison hissed. This isn't over. Brooklyn didn't respond. She was too busy noticing things, the security camera in the corner with its red recording light. The way Madison favored her left ankle now. How Hunter kept his distance. Most importantly, she noticed the text notification that lit up her phone screen. From Dad, training room, 6 p.m. sharp. Heard you had an interesting day. She almost smiled. Captain Marcus Harper of Metro SWAT didn't ask questions he didn't already know the answers to. The principal's office smelled like old coffee and disappointment. Principal Coleman sat behind his desk, fingers steepled, while the 4 students arranged themselves in uncomfortable plastic chairs. Madison had cleaned the glass from her hair, but missed a small piece glittering near her ear. Hunter's eye was already swelling. Skylar clutched her cracked phone like a lifeline. Brooklyn sat perfectly still, hands folded, breathing steady, just like Dad taught her. When you're in the hot seat, be the calmest person in the room. So, Principal Coleman began, who wants to explain why I have 3 honor students and 1 new transfer in my office for fighting? Madison launched into her version immediately. Brooklyn Harper attacked us. We were just trying to include her in our study group and she went crazy. Include me. Brooklyn's voice was mild. Is that what you call dragging someone by their hair? We never touched you. Check your nails, Brooklyn suggested. I'm betting you'll find some of my hair still caught in that questionable acrylic job. Madison instinctively curled her fingers into fists. Principal Coleman turned to his computer. Interesting, because I have here a social media post from 90 minutes ago, Skylar Chen's account. Time to show the new girl where she belongs. Know your place. That Westview hierarchy. With responses from Madison Wells and Hunter Morrison expressing enthusiastic support. Skylar sank lower in her chair. There's more, Coleman continued. Security footage from the chemistry lab. Would anyone like to change their story before I review it? Hunter spoke up for the first time. Look, we were just... It was just what? Mr. Morrison, just assault, just recording it for entertainment. She's trained or something, Madison burst out. No normal person moves like that. She's dangerous. Dangerous. Brooklyn finally looked at her directly. I asked you 3 times to stop. I warned you. I used exactly enough force to defend myself, and not 1 bit more. Every move is on camera. Would you prefer I had just let you hurt me? We weren't going to hurt you. Then why bring Hunter? Brooklyn asked. 6'2", 190 pounds. Varsity football. That's not backup for a study group invitation. Principal Coleman's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, and his expression shifted. Wait here. All of you. He stepped out, leaving them in tense silence. Madison whispered furiously to Hunter. Skylar tried to access her phone through the cracked screen. Brooklyn counted ceiling tiles. 64. 8 by 8 grid. 2 water stains in the northeast corner. The door opened. Principal Coleman returned. But he wasn't alone. The man who entered wore a crisp black uniform, silver captain's bars catching the light. He moved with the controlled precision of someone who'd spent decades in tactical situations. His eyes, the same dark brown as Brooklyn's, swept the room in a professional assessment. Captain Marcus Harper, Metro SWAT. Madison's sharp intake of breath was audible. Hunter actually scooted his chair back. Even Skylar looked up from her phone. "Dad," Brooklyn said simply. "Brooklyn." His voice was neutral, giving nothing away. Then, to Principal Coleman, "I understand there was an incident. Captain Harper, I appreciate you coming, but I'm not here as a parent," Marcus interrupted smoothly. "I'm here because one of your students posted a video that's now evidence in an ongoing investigation." Skylar's phone slipped from her fingers. "Investigation?" Principal Coleman asked. Captain Harper pulled out his own phone, swiped to something. "Cyber Crimes Division flagged it 30 minutes ago. Assault, premeditated harassment, conspiracy to commit battery, all filmed and uploaded by the perpetrators." He looked at Madison, Hunter, and Skylar. "Congratulations. You've made yourselves famous." "We're minors," Madison protested. "You can't." "You're right," Marcus agreed, "which is why your parents are being contacted by family services instead of the district attorney. For now." The color drained from Madison's face. Her father was a city councilman. This kind of scandal would be... "However," Marcus continued, "if I find out any of you so much as look at my daughter wrong again, we'll revisit that decision. Are we clear?" Three heads nodded rapidly. "Brooklyn," Principal Coleman said carefully. "Given the circumstances, if you'd like to transfer to another school—" "No," Brooklyn interrupted. "I'm staying." Madison's head snapped up. "What?" "I'm staying," Brooklyn repeated. "I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not running, because some people can't handle sharing space with someone who doesn't look like them." "This has nothing to do with," Hunter started. "Doesn't it?" Brooklyn turned to face him fully. "First day, you accidentally knocked my books down. Twice. Second day, Skylar started that rumor about me being here on scholarship, which I'm not, by the way. Third day, Madison's little group surrounded me in the bathroom to welcome me. And today, you tried to physically remove me from class. But sure, this is all just coincidence." The room fell silent. Captain Harper checked his watch. "Principal Coleman, I trust you'll handle the disciplinary measures appropriately. Brooklyn, you have training at 6. "Yes, sir." He headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and Madison, your father and I golf together sometimes. I'll be sure to mention how well you're representing the Wells family name." The door closed behind him with a soft click that somehow sounded final. Principal Coleman cleared his throat. "Madison, Hunter, Skylar, 3-day suspension pending full investigation, Brooklyn. You can return to class." "This is insane." Madison stood up so fast her chair tipped over. "She's the one who defended herself against 3 attackers," Coleman finished. "While showing remarkable restraint, I might add. The suspension stands, and I'll be recommending community service focused on anti-bullying initiatives." Brooklyn gathered her things quietly. As she reached the door, Madison's voice, low and venomous, followed her. "This isn't over." Brooklyn paused, hand on the doorknob. "You're right. It's not." She looked back over her shoulder. "See? You thought this was about putting me in my place. But all you did was show everyone your true colors. And that video Skylar took, the one that's evidence, now it's also viral. 14,000 views in the last hour." Skylar fumbled for her phone, managed to pull up the app despite the cracked screen. Her face went pale. "Oh my God." "Bullies attack new girl, instant karma," Brooklyn recited. "The comments are colorful, especially the ones identifying you by name." "You posted it," Hunter accused. I didn't have to. Skylar did that herself. Live streaming. Brooklyn opened the door. Funny how bullies always document their own downfall. She left them there. Principal Coleman already pulling up his email as the three students faced the reality of their new internet fame. The hallway was empty. Fifth period was still in session. Brooklyn's footsteps echoed on the polished floor. She should feel victorious. She should feel proud. Instead, she just felt tired. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw the video. You think you're tough. Wait until you meet the rest of us. Brooklyn deleted it without responding. Madison had no idea what she'd just started. The Wells family had influence. Sure, money, connections. But the Harper family, they had something else entirely. They had training. The chemistry lab was cleaned up by the time Brooklyn returned for her backpack. Mr. Peterson looked up from grading papers. Quite a scene earlier. Oh, sorry about the beakers, Brooklyn offered. They were due for replacement anyway. He studied her over his glasses. You know, I had your father in my class 15 years ago. Brooklyn blinked. You did? Quiet kid. Sat in the back. Just like you. Never caused trouble. But there was something about him. Like he was always watching. Always ready. Peterson smiled slightly. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I just wanted to be left alone, Brooklyn said softly. I know, but sometimes standing up is the only way to get peace. He handed her a hall pass. Take your time getting to next period. And Brooklyn, well done. Outside, storm clouds gathered on the horizon. Brooklyn walked slowly, processing the day's events. She'd blown her cover as just another quiet transfer student, made enemies of the most powerful clique in school, drawn attention she'd specifically tried to avoid. But she'd also sent a message. She wasn't a victim, wasn't an easy target, wasn't going anywhere. Her phone rang. Dad? Sir, debrief. Kitchen table, 20 minutes. Copy that? And Brooklyn. Your mother would have been proud. The line went dead. Brooklyn stood there for a moment, rain starting to spatter the windows. Her mother, Detective Sarah Harper, killed in the line of duty 3 years ago, had always said the hardest battles weren't the physical ones. The real fight, she used to say, is standing for what's right when everyone wants you to sit down. Brooklyn squared her shoulders and headed to her next class. Let Madison Wells and her crew plan their revenge. Let them scheme and plot and post their threats. They had no idea what they were up against. The Harper family motto wasn't written in Latin or etched in gold. It was simple, practical, and absolute, always be ready. And Brooklyn Harper. She was ready for whatever came next. The rain intensified as she entered the history classroom. 22 pairs of eyes tracked her movement to an empty seat. Whispers followed like ripples in water. That's her. Did you see the video? Madison's going to destroy her. Brooklyn pulled out her textbook, found the right page, and focused on the lesson. The Civil War. Brother against brother. Sometimes, history had a sense of irony. Her phone vibrated against the desk. Another unknown number. She didn't need to look to know it was another threat. By tomorrow, Madison would have rallied her forces. The real war would begin, but wars weren't won in a day. And Brooklyn had learned from the best. As thunder rolled across the sky, she allowed herself one small smile. They wanted a fight. They'd get one. But it wouldn't be the kind they expected. The history teacher droned on about Gettysburg while Brooklyn mentally catalogued exit routes. potential allies, and probable attack vectors. Just like Dad taught her. Just like Mom used to do. Outside, lightning split the sky. Inside, Brooklyn Harper prepared for battle. The next morning arrived wrapped in fog and tension. Brooklyn stood at her locker at 7:15 a.m., methodically organizing her books. She'd arrived early, deliberately established presence, controlled the environment. Dad's voice echoed in her head. First one, there sets the terms. The hallway was nearly empty. Just a few overachievers and the janitor pushing his cart. Perfect. She sensed rather than saw the approach. 4 sets of footsteps, trying to sound casual but moving in formation. Brooklyn didn't turn around, just kept arranging her textbooks as Madison's voice cut through the morning quiet. Well, well, the hero returns. Brooklyn closed her locker carefully, turned slowly. Madison stood center, flanked by 3 girls Brooklyn didn't recognize. New recruits. Madison had spent the suspension recruiting. Madison, thought you were suspended. It's 7:20. School doesn't start until 8. I'm just here to collect some things from my locker. Madison's smile was sharp as glass. These are my friends, Autumn, Raven, and Sierra. They wanted to meet the girl from the video. The 3 girls spread out slightly. Tactical positioning. They'd been coached. 14,000 views, the one called Autumn said. She was tall, athletic, with the build of a swimmer. Bet you're real proud. Actually, it's 47,000 now, Brooklyn corrected mildly. Last I checked. Raven, shorter, compact, with a dancer's grace, laughed. She's got jokes. She won't be laughing long, Sierra added. The 3rd girl was average height, but carried herself like a fighter. Maybe martial arts background. Interesting. Brooklyn shifted her weight slightly, keeping all 4 in her peripheral vision. If you're trying to intimidate me, you need better staging. Hallways too narrow for 4-on-1. Security camera has clear sight lines. And the janitor, she nodded toward the older man pretending not to watch. That's Mr. Rodriguez, 20-year veteran, already texting security. Madison's confident expression flickered. You think you're so smart. I think I'm prepared. Brooklyn picked up her backpack. Question is, are you? Was that a threat? An observation? You came here with backup because yesterday scared you. But here's the thing about backup. It only works if they're willing to risk what you're risking. And looking at your new friends, Brooklyn made eye contact with each girl in turn. They're not true believers. They're just curious. You don't know anything about us, Autumn said, but her voice lacked conviction. I know Sierra's on the volleyball team. Scholarship athlete. One disciplinary action, and she loses everything. Brooklyn's tactical assessment continued smoothly. Raven's pre-med track. Her parents are both doctors at Mercy General. Think they'll be happy when their daughter gets arrested for assault. And Autumn, let me guess. Debate, team, student government, planning to apply to law school. The 3 girls exchanged glances. Madison promised you'd just be here for show. Brooklyn continued. Intimidation factor. But she didn't mention the criminal investigation. Did she? Didn't explain that you'd be accessories to whatever she's planning. There's no investigation, Madison snapped. Brooklyn pulled out her phone, showed them an email header. Official case number from Metro PD. Want to be part of it, one by one. The 3 girls stepped back. Where are you going? Madison demanded. I've got practice, Sierra muttered. Study group, Autumn added. Raven just shook her head and walked away. Madison watched her carefully constructed power play crumble. Her face flushed red. You think you've won something? I think I've got chemistry in 20 minutes, Brooklyn replied. You should go. Violating suspension is serious. This isn't over. You keep saying that. Brooklyn shouldered her bag. But all I see is you leaving. Again. The sound Madison made wasn't quite a scream, wasn't quite a growl. She spun on her designer heels and stormed off, leaving Brooklyn alone in the hallway. Mr. Rodriguez rolled his cart closer. That was something, he said quietly. Just words. Mr. R. Smart words. Your mama was a cop, wasn't she? Brooklyn nodded. Thought so. Got that same way about you. Seeing all the angles. He continued pushing his cart. You need anything, you let me know. Thanks. The hallway began filling with students. Brooklyn moved through them like water, noting reactions. Some stared openly, others whispered behind hands. A few actually smiled, quiet kids, the ones who'd been Madison's victims before. Chemistry class was different now. Mr. Peterson had rearranged the seating chart. Brooklyn's new spot was front and center, harder to corner, easier to monitor, strategic. Rough morning, he asked as she settled in. Manageable. Good. Today we're working with volatile compounds. Appropriate, don't you think? Brooklyn almost smiled. Very. The lesson began, but she caught the glances, heard the whispers. The video had made her famous. Not the kind of attention she wanted, but attention nonetheless. Her phone buzzed. Dad, heard M showed up, handled well. Of course he knew. Captain Harper had eyes everywhere. Another text. Unknown number. You embarrassed the wrong family. Daddy's money won't save you. M. Brooklyn deleted it. Madison didn't understand. The Harper family didn't need money. They had something better. They had each other. And they had skills. But Madison was escalating. The family threat was new. That meant she'd talk to her father. And Councilman Wells was involved now. This was about to get complicated. The bell rang. Brooklyn packed up carefully, aware of every person around her. As she reached the door, someone called her name. Brooklyn, wait up. She turned. A boy she didn't recognize jogged over medium height, sandy hair, friendly face, too friendly. I'm Blake Morrison, he said. I wanted to apologize for my brother. Brother. Hunter Morrison's brother. Brooklyn's threat assessment kicked in immediately. No need, she said, continuing to walk. Blake fell into step beside her. No, really, Hunter's an idiot. What he did was wrong. Okay. I was thinking maybe I could make it up to you coffee after school. There's this great place. No. Blake blinked. No. Your timing's interesting, Brooklyn observed. Your brother attacks me Monday. Tuesday morning you suddenly want to be friends. Either you're the world's most oblivious person, or this is another angle. I'm not. Test it, Brooklyn interrupted. Go home. Tell Hunter you asked me out. See how he reacts. Blake's face gave him away. The slight flinch. The guilty glance sideways. Thought so. Brooklyn picked up her pace. Tell Madison her honey trap needs work. Wait, I really do think you're... Brooklyn stopped so abruptly, Blake almost ran into her. Let me be crystal clear. I don't date people who think I'm stupid. I don't trust people who lie to my face. And I definitely don't fall for operations this transparent. Now leave me alone before I add harassment to your family's growing list of problems. She left him standing there, mouth open, as she headed to her next class. The attempts kept coming throughout the day. A girl from the drama club suddenly wanted to be best friends. 2 guys from the basketball team invited her to a party. Even a teacher, Ms. Brennan from English, made odd comments about fitting in and making the right friends. Madison's reach was longer than expected. By lunch, Brooklyn had identified 12 separate approaches. She ate alone in the library, cataloging each interaction. Madison was testing defenses, looking for weak points. Her phone rang. Dad again. How many so far? 12 direct. Probably more I haven't caught. Threat level. Probing attacks only. She's gathering intel. Good assessment. Your 4:30 training is now a family meeting. Uncle Jay will be there. Brooklyn straightened. Uncle Jay, Detective Jason Murphy. Her mom's former partner only showed up for serious situations. Understood. Stay alert. Wells made calls this morning. The line went dead. Brooklyn stared at her half-eaten sandwich. Councilman Wells was mobilizing. This was officially beyond high school drama. She pulled out her notebook, started sketching connections. Madison Wells, Hunter Morrison, the 3 girls from this morning, Blake Morrison, Miss Brennan. Who else? Mind if I sit? Brooklyn looked up. A girl stood nearby, black hair, worn jeans, paint-stained fingers. Not Madison's usual recruit type. Free country, Brooklyn said carefully. The girl sat down across from her. I'm Phoenix Chen. And before you ask, no, Madison didn't send me. Actually, she hates me. Why? Because I'm the only person who ever told her no and made it stick. Phoenix pulled out her own lunch. Until you. Brooklyn studied her. Phoenix had the relaxed posture of someone with nothing to prove. Interesting. What do you want? Nothing. Just thought you should know you're not as alone as Madison wants you to think. Phoenix took a bite of her apple. There are more of us than her, we just learn to be quiet. Us, kids she stepped on, kids who don't fit her perfect mold. Phoenix shrugged. We survive by staying invisible. But you lit a match. Some of us are wondering if it's time to stop hiding. Brooklyn considered this. And do what? I don't know yet, but Madison's getting sloppy, desperate. That means vulnerable. You're suggesting an alliance. I'm suggesting awareness. Madison rules through fear and isolation. Make people think they're alone. But look around. Phoenix nodded toward the library. Count how many kids are watching our conversation. Count how many look hopeful. Brooklyn did a quick scan. At least 15 students were paying attention, trying to look like they weren't. They're waiting, Phoenix continued, to see if you're real, if standing up is actually possible. I didn't ask to be anyone's symbol. Nobody asks, it just happens. Phoenix stood up. Madison's planning something for after school. Don't know what, but she had a bunch of seniors in her car this morning. Thanks for the intel. Not intel, just one outsider to another. Phoenix paused. Your mom saved my older brother once. Drug situation that could have ruined his life. She gave him a second chance instead of an arrest record. Brooklyn's throat tightened. She was good at seeing people. Yeah, so was your dad, apparently. Phoenix headed for the door, then looked back. That thing about us being more than them, it's not just talk. Remember that. Alone again. Brooklyn processed this new information. Potential allies. Madison overextending. Seniors involved now that changed the threat matrix significantly. Her phone showed 2:15, last period in 10 minutes. Then the after-school ambush Phoenix warned about. Brooklyn smiled grimly. Let them come. She had contingencies. What Madison Wells failed to understand was simple. The Harper family didn't just prepare for fights. They prepared for wars. And this war was just beginning. Part 2. The final bell rang at 3:15. Brooklyn didn't head for the main exit. Instead, She took the east stairwell, less traffic. Better sightlines. Her phone buzzed with a message from Phoenix. North parking lot, 8 cars. They're waiting. Brooklyn typed back, copy that. She emerged through the gym exit instead, circling wide around the building. The fog from morning had burned off, leaving harsh afternoon sun. Perfect weather for surveillance cameras to catch everything. The north parking lot spread before her like a chessboard. 8 cars arranged in a loose semicircle. Madison's white BMW. The center. Hunter's truck. Several senior vehicles she recognized from the athletic parking section. 23 people. Brooklyn counted them quickly. Madison had pulled out all the stops. But something was wrong with the picture. Too many people. Too public. Too obvious. Then she saw it. Councilman Wells's town car parked across the street. He was watching. This wasn't just about high school hierarchy anymore. Brooklyn's phone rang. Dad? I see them, she said without preamble. So do we. Uncle Jay's in position. Your call. Brooklyn understood. They could extract her now, avoid the confrontation entirely. Or, I'm going in, she decided. Understood. Remember your training. The line went dead. Brooklyn squared her shoulders and walked directly toward the semicircle of cars. Madison stepped forward, designer sunglasses glinting. Look who finally showed up. You brought an army for one girl. Brooklyn kept her voice calm. I'm flattered. You humiliated me. Humiliated my family. Madison's voice shook with rage. Do you know who we are? I know exactly who you are. Brooklyn stopped 10 feet away. Hands visible. Stance neutral. The question is, do you know who I am? Hunter laughed from beside his truck. Yeah, the cop's kid who's about to learn Captain Harper's kid. Brooklyn corrected. Detective Harper's kid. But also, she smiled slightly, Master Sergeant Harper's granddaughter. Deputy Chief Harper's niece. Lieutenant Harper's cousin. Should I continue? The crowd shifted uneasily. Every summer since I was 10. Brooklyn continued conversationally. My family reunion looked like a tactical convention. While you were at cheer camp, Madison, I was learning battlefield medicine, while Hunter played Pop Warner. I was running obstacle courses with Marines. So what? Madison snapped, but her voice wavered. So I need you to understand something. Brooklyn's tone hardened. I'm not some helpless victim you can bully into submission. I'm not afraid of you, your father, or your money. And if you force this confrontation, I won't hold back like I did yesterday. One of the seniors, a linebacker Brooklyn recognized, stepped forward. Big talk for someone outnumbered 20-1. Brooklyn didn't even look at him. Her eyes stayed locked on Madison. 19. Carson behind me is already leaving. Smart choice. Carson, your football scholarship is safe. Footsteps retreated. Madison's face flushed. Anyone else want to protect their future? Brooklyn asked mildly. 3 more people drifted away. Then 2 more. Stop! Madison shrieked. I'm paying you to... Wait! Brooklyn's voice cut through the chaos. You're paying them, Madison. Please tell me you didn't just admit to conspiracy with financial incentive. In front of witnesses. While your father watches. Madison's face went white. She glanced toward the town car. Oh, he didn't know about the payment part. Brooklyn pulled out her phone, showed the recording app running. Well, now he does, along with the police, the school board, and probably the media once this goes viral. Councilman's daughter pays for assault. That'll trend nicely. Your recording. Since I walked up, clear audio of you admitting to hiring people to attack me. Brooklyn pocketed her phone. So here's what happens now. Everyone walks away. Nobody touches anybody. You leave me alone. I leave you alone. Simple. You think you've won? Madison's voice went shrill. Your father will do damage control. Brooklyn interrupted. Because assault is one thing, but conspiracy with a financial paper trail, that's career ending. The town car's engine started. Councilman Wells was leaving, abandoning his daughter to her mess. Madison saw it too. Something broke in her expression. It's over, Madison. Brooklyn's voice gentled slightly. You can keep escalating and lose everything. Or you can walk away and salvage what's left. Choose. The remaining crowd had already made their choice. Car doors slammed. Engines started. Within 90 seconds, only Madison, Hunter, and 2 others remained. This isn't how it was supposed to go, Madison whispered. No, Brooklyn agreed. But it's how it is. Hunter stepped forward, fists clenched. Madison grabbed his arm. Don't, just don't. She turned and walked to her BMW, movements mechanical. Hunter followed, confusion clear on his face. The last 2 stragglers scrambled after them. Brooklyn stood alone in the parking lot, adrenaline finally hitting. Her hands shook slightly. She'd faced down 23 people with nothing but words and reputation. That, said a familiar voice behind her, was beautiful. She turned. Uncle Jay emerged from behind a maintenance shed, badge visible on his belt. Textbook de-escalation. Your mom would be proud. Were you really going to let me face them alone? You were never alone. He nodded toward various positions. Your dad had overwatch from the gym roof. I had the shed. 2 uniforms in the surveillance room. Another unit staged around the corner. He grinned. Plus about 30 kids with phone cameras in the windows. Madison picked the worst possible location. Brooklyn looked up at the school windows. Dozens of faces peered out. Some waved. Phoenix gave a thumbs up from the art room. The recording? Uncle Jay asked. Running since I left the building. Everything's documented. Brooklyn pulled out her phone. Stopped the recording. Including her confession about paying people. That's my girl. Come on. Family meeting awaits. They walked toward his unmarked car. Behind them, the parking lot stood empty except for the smell of burned rubber from rapid departures. Uncle Jay. Yeah. Will this end it with Madison? He considered. The public humiliation, her father distancing himself. The potential criminal charges. Yeah, I think Madison Wells just learned what happens when you attack a Harper. I didn't want it to go this far. I know, but sometimes standing your ground means letting others fall. He opened the car door for her. Your mom faced the same choices. She always chose to protect people, even when it meant making enemies. Brooklyn slid into the passenger seat. Through the windshield, she could see students streaming out of the building. Many looked her way, some with respect, some with fear, most with something in between. Phoenix was right, she murmured. About what? About them being ready for someone to stand up. Look at them. Uncle Jay followed her gaze. Kids who usually scurried past Madison's crew now walked with straighter spines. The quiet ones, the different ones, the targeted ones, they all moved differently. Change starts with one person, he said. Your mom taught me that. Brooklyn's phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number, but not threatening this time. Thank you, you gave us hope, the quiet ones. Then another, Madison's reign is over because of you. And another, You showed us we don't have to be afraid." Message after message flooded in. Brooklyn read them silently as Uncle Jay drove. "The video from today?" she asked eventually. "Oh, it's already spreading. Someone live-streamed the whole parking lot confrontation. Girl defeats 23 bullies with words alone. Last I checked, it had 50,000 views." Brooklyn groaned. "I just wanted to go to school." "No," Uncle Jay corrected. "You wanted to go to school without being targeted for being different. There's a distinction. And today, you made sure that's possible not just for you, but for every kid Madison ever hurt." They pulled into her driveway. Dad's truck was already there. Along with 2 other vehicles, Brooklyn recognized family. Inside. The kitchen table was surrounded by uniforms and plain clothes. Dad looked up from a laptop showing the parking lot footage. 17 minutes from first contact to complete dispersal, he noted. No physical engagement. Multiple documented confessions. Perfect execution. "Just like you taught me," Brooklyn said. "No," Dad smiled, a rare sight. "You did something I couldn't teach. You gave those kids courage." "That's all Sarah." The mention of Mom made everyone quiet for a moment. Then Uncle Jay broke the silence. "So, Madison Wells, threat assessment. Neutralized," Brooklyn reported. "She'll transfer schools before criminal charges are filed. Her father will insist on it." The Morrison brothers. Hunter follows Madison's lead. Without her, he's just another meathead. Blake might actually apologize genuinely once the dust settles. And the school environment, Brooklyn considered. Changing. The power structure Madison built is collapsing. There'll be a vacuum. But I think it'll fill with something better. Good analysis. Dad closed the laptop. Dinner's at 6. Full debrief after. For now, he stood, crossed to Brooklyn, and did something rare, hugged her. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart. You honored everything we taught you. But more importantly, you honored who you are." The room murmured agreement. Brooklyn felt tears prick her eyes, but blinked them back. Harper's cried in private, if at all. Brooklyn Harper hadn't just defended herself. She'd shown everyone that bullies only have the power you give them. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is simply refuse to give them any power at all. As darkness fell, she smiled. Mom would have been proud. Dad was proud. But most importantly, Brooklyn was proud of herself. She'd stayed true to who she was. A Harper, a fighter, a protector, and someone who would never, ever back down from doing what's right. The war was over. Brooklyn Harper had won not with fists, but with courage, intelligence, and unshakable resolve, just like a Harper should.